So today we're going to talk about the art of becoming. Whenever we're trying to create something new in our lives, we actually have to become the thing we're looking to create before it manifests. It's something that you kind of get it into your body. It's an embodiment. It's understanding it. Like when you want that specific car, you might drive, you might take a test drive. You might research ahead of time, find out mechanically what's in, what the car's about, find the right color. You might want that new car smell if it's a brand new car, whatever that might be. But you actually become the thing and you really see yourself as that. You really imagine yourself as that. And when you're becoming something new and creating a new sense of yourself, it's kind of letting go of some of the old ways of thinking and creating a new way of thinking. I've had to do that in my writing. And I just recently did a book review of my fourth novel, this one, which is called Ouroboros. And I explained a lot about certainly the writing, the storyline, and what the whole series is about. But the question I always get answered is, how do you do what you do? How do you write what you write? What makes you think like you do in order to write all the different things that I write about? Because this whole series has history in it. It has certainly the current time frame, but it is a story of 13 different people that come from different religious backgrounds, different countries from all over the world, different heritages. They're all different races. They are shamans and oracles and mediums and light workers. They've come together to join, and it's a very ancient society of which they belong in. It's called the Epiros, the Order of Epiros. It's very ancient. And they come together to work for the greater good of the world. And so they come with all of their different backgrounds, with their different religious beliefs and all these different things. But in order to write that, I have to actually become it. So I do it through research. I do a lot of research. I become the character, whatever characters I'm writing about. I go into what that is that I need to understand. So the way I tell the history is because I love history, and I think there's so much we can learn from it. And I go into prehistory in 2 different time frames, and I go into history that goes back about 4,000 years, and certainly more current history within the last millennium or so. And we meet some well-known people that a lot of us are very familiar with, or well-known time frames, or maybe an event. But the way I tell the story is through Sophia, who is the main character of all the books. And Sophia goes through her past lives to tell the history. So in her past life, she has a dream, and she dreams of who she was back in a time frame, so we can talk about history. And then she brings that history into this current time frame through this group of people who are doing things for the greater good of the world. So that's kind of like a basic gist of the story. But the reason why people ask me, what makes you think about this? Certainly they're interested about the story and the characters and what's going on in everything that I'm creating here. And they have a lot of ideas and ask me questions about how I see things in the world, what's my point of view. But most people are really wanting to write their own story. They're wanting to write a book themselves, or they're wanting to maybe journal about something, or leave a story for their family members, about their own personal story, that maybe family members never knew. There are people in my family that are now gone that, oh my gosh, I wish I had known who they were. I wish I had known their stories. So I tell other people's stories. I tell famous remembrances of things. And so then we can go back into those times in history that bring it back into our current time frame. And perhaps it will help us to create a better future for ourselves. That's the whole idea. And so with what we're doing in creating the life that we'd love to live, and what it is that we'd really enjoy, we can do it through what's called a visioning, and also for the visioning process. There are 2 different ways of doing this. And that's part of becoming the thing that you're desiring whether it's a new job, whether it's a new relationship, whether it's a vacation you want, whatever it is you're calling into your life, you put it into a vision and you create it. So this house that my husband and I live in, we did that very same thing. When we decided to move elsewhere from where we were, we sat down and we got really clear about what we wanted. We made a list of, just the basic things. How many rooms do we want? What kind of a yard do we want? We wanted a quiet neighborhood. We wanted a really nice city to live in, of course. And there were just so many different things that we wanted, and the list was long. But we were really clear about what we wanted, and we didn't put on the list what we didn't want, because the universe will give you what you put most of your attention on. And so we wrote about, or we created this vision and wrote it all down very clearly about what we really wanted. So when we went to look for different houses, this worked because it didn't have all these things on the vision. This one was a little closer, so maybe that might be something that we would look at. This one would be an interesting neighborhood, but maybe didn't have enough garage space or didn't have enough rooms in the house. So we just kept checking off the list, and we knew exactly what we were wanting. And we were very much in sync with each other about what we wanted. So when it finally came down to making a decision about what we needed to do, it was a Saturday that I was giving a workshop for a group of people that were very important to me. And then my husband took the day and he came down here to Colorado Springs because there were several different homes that were listed on the internet that were having open houses. And he found a number of them that looked really good. But one in particular was farther east from here. The house itself was lovely. And we decided he says, he called our realtor friend, and he said, hey, can you get us in right away to look at this house that's to the east of Colorado Springs, and then also this other house? So he got us in the next morning, and we came and looked at a place that he had picked out for us in Castle Rock, which wasn't what we wanted. And then we also looked at this house to the east of us, of where we are now, and we loved it. It was a great house, but there were just things that weren't quite right. Now, the way that I think, I do a lot of what I do by my intuition. And then it's like, it's got to feel right. It's got to feel good to me. And so when we were driving up into this neighborhood, it was a lovely winding road with lots of trees. That felt really good. The neighborhood was a welcoming neighborhood. It had a park nearby. Seemed like, well, yeah, this could be possible. We drove up in front of the house. It was a lovely little cottage home, and I liked that. But that wasn't on the list. But I was like, well, that's nice. That's nice. I like that. And so then we, everybody else walked into the house before I did, and I stepped into the house, one step, and I knew. I felt it. I knew. And I didn't even need to look at the rest of the house. Of course I did. And there's so many other things about it that I just loved. But the thing that was not on the list, and I didn't think that I could have it, but it was in my mind all the time we were looking for houses, and long before we even were thinking about moving from the house that we moved in from before this, was I wanted a mountain view. And it was really important to me. It was in my feelings. It was in my bones. I was becoming it, because I grew up part of the time in the mountains. My family had a cabin in the mountains, and I've told you about that before. And I loved being there. I love the mountains. It's part of who I am. So I wanted a mountain view. Didn't think I'd ever have one because it costs more money to have a mountain view. But that was the bonus of this house. We have beautiful windows outside our living room area, and there's a great big deck there, which is like an extra room in itself. And we get to eat dinner out there, to see the mountain view and to see the sunsets and watch the storms come in and watch the birds and listen to life all around us. And it's just such a lovely bonus that I was so gifted with, felt so gifted with, to be able to see that. But that's part of the art of becoming, is what it is you're really desiring. You feel it so greatly. You get it so clearly. And there's just about everything that we wanted on the list we got in this house. And then what we didn't get, we created a lot of that since then. There's a couple things that we'd still like to have, but it's not necessary. Maybe in the next house we'll do that. But this house is perfect for us. It's our sanctuary. We've done that with buying cars. We've done that with the relationship that he and I created. I actually had a list of what I wanted in a man. And then when he showed up, I went, oh, because that's another story I'll tell you about another time. We knew each other before. But when he showed up, I was like, oh my goodness, here he is. He's been here all along, and now I'm ready for him, and he's ready for me. So life is so amazing. But when you get clear about what you want, the how will show up. And it's just about getting really clear about what you want. When we're really clear about this house, clear about what we wanted, then when it showed up and we were stepped in the door and he did the research and he did all these things beforehand and we were in sync with it, it showed up. There it was. And here we are. Same thing with the characters in these books. I had to become the characters in order to write about them. I had to do the research. I had to become each character. As I wrote each character, I became in the mindset of that character, of who they were, what they do, and how they blend together. There's humor, there's love stories, there's really deep, poignant issues and concerns in every one of these books. And there's history, there's mystery, it's very mystical as well. It goes into great depth. And by the way, they're available on Amazon and also on Nook. But the thing is I'm going to start talking to you about what's in these books because it is part of who I am. It's part of who I have become. And if you're thinking about writing a book or thinking about creating something new in your life, I do this kind of work all the time. I work with people in creating visions and doing vision work, doing visioning work. There's two different things, but one's they're interconnected, and I do that in my workshops. So you can contact me, you can join with me. I'd be happy to work with you to do that. But the thing is you can have anything you want in life. You just have to get away from the shouldas, the wouldas, the couldas, the have-tos, the no-no-nos that we constantly tell ourselves and say, yes, I can have this. This is mine. This is what I really, truly desire, and I can do this. And there will be ways that will show up for you that you'll be pretty astounded at when you say yes to what it is you're calling into your life. Get clear about what you want. Know clearly what that is, down to the details, and then the how will show up. It's great. It's golden. It's true. It's powerful. This is the way the universe works. This is the way God works. This is the way the greater good works. This is the way Source works, where we become one with Source. We become one with the greater good. We become one with the all there is. And that absolute power that lies within us then assists us to become what it is what we're calling forth. So I know you can do it. I know you already have, and you can do more of it because I'm doing it. It's fun. And so I love you. Love you bunches. And if there's anything I can do to support you, just let me know. And know that you are fabulous, and we actually are all in this together. Bye for now.